Welcome to At the Table, the podcast where questions meet conversations and real life meets real answers. Brought to you by the pastoral team at MBCH, we're here to unpack the big topics, the small curiosities, and everything in between. Each week, we gather around the table to bring you diverse perspectives, authentic discussions, and biblical insight on issues that matter to you the most. From faith and family to culture and the tough questions, no subject is off limits. And with special guests joining us from time to time, you never know what fresh ideas or surprising insights might just pop up. This isn't just another podcast. It's a conversation where you have a seat at the table. Got a question or a topic you're curious about? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's dive deep together. Real questions, real answers, all at the table.
Well, welcome again to the table. Meeting us here at the table is a place where we get together and just talk about things that are perhaps common, some things that are not common, and some things that could even be controversial. We don't shy away from anything. We've been talking last week with Juston Gates, who is the president of the Missouri Baptist Children's Home, a good friend of mine, a good guy that's been in law enforcement pretty much all his life, and when he wasn't pastoring, he was the pastor at Forsyth and in Tupelo, I think, weren't you, Justin?
Yeah, just outside of Tupelo, a community called Saltillo.
Yeah, I got a brother that lives there, brother-in-law that lives there. Yeah, know it well. Well, we talked a lot about the Missouri Baptist Children's Home's foster care program. And among ourselves, we came up with some questions. Chris, what was that you were talking earlier?
I think for somebody like myself who's not had a lot of association with the foster, I mean, I've been blessed to have a family that we didn't go through that. And growing up here in Stone County, the numbers were showing it. And I believe at that time the numbers probably weren't a whole lot different, but it wasn't something that was just commonly talked about. So when it comes down to it, just some of the stuff we've talked about has been a revelation to me because I didn't understand how that all worked. How when somebody's looking at the foster, kind of go over what that looks like. What does that mean to somebody?
If you're interested in foster care, Chris, there's a couple of ways to get connected. One, obviously, is through the state of Missouri. Children's Division is the controller, so to speak, of the foster care world in our state of Missouri. In fact, we are a contract provider of the state of Missouri Children's Division. So we work directly with CD. That is kind of our boss, so to speak. And so the parameters and those things that we have to meet are based on the contracts that they set up for us. So if an individual was interested, they could actually reach out to Department of Social Services within our state. They could reach out directly to Children's Division, simply voice their interest, and Children's Division then will point them in the right direction based on what part of the state they're in. Or what happens to me, Chris, a lot of times is I'll have a pastor buddy of mine. This happens quite often. In fact, they'll call and that pastor friend of mine will say, "Hey, I've got this family in my church, Justin. They are on fire. They really want to foster and they want to work with MBCH." And the first thing I have to do is figure out where that church is as far as geographical location within our state. Because even though we do work in contract relationship to the state Children's Division, we only work in certain areas of the state. So even though MBCH is a Missouri Baptist Convention entity and we have almost 1,800 of those churches, MBCH would not be able to serve all of our churches. And that's a very frustrating thing for us, I can tell you, buddy. But I will tell you this. If a church member contacted MBCH or a pastor contacted me about foster care, even if we were not going to be the service provider, we would then make the contact for that family to the entity that's going to be the service provider to get their dialogue started. So MBCH would still be kind of the launching entity into that foster care world. And then what they'll have to do, whether that's us or another entity, there's an interview process, Chris, as you can imagine. There's going to be a case manager that will get in contact with them either from the state or from an entity like ours. And there is a very detailed interview process. And again, one of the things that we add to that interview process is their own Christian testimony, as we require all of ours to be believers. And so there's this very detailed process the state requires, then there's information we also require. And if it's deemed that that family qualifies to provide foster care services, then the training begins. And there's about 3 different levels of training. Placement, though, is very, very quick. Like we've always got a case or a child that we're looking to place. It seems like my staff is always under that gun. They will clear a case, they will get a child placed, and Chris, right away, there's another case file handed right to them with the next one. And our contract services require us to have that child placed in 90 days or less.
Oh, wow.
And so we're always trying to have families ready and on standby. Like I told you, families like Sean, they're our best friend. I mean, we're looking for those families all the time. So we stay with them even if a child is moved back into a bio home, a biological family's home. We're always nurturing our relationships with those families because our case demand is continual. It never ceases. Y'all, we never get to the bottom of the stack. Like MBCH is never caught up on our case files ever. That's just not how the system works.
Well, Justin, let's ask you a few questions about some other services that MBC Children Home has. I didn't realize that there is a drop-in center that you guys maintain for kids just to hang out. Is that kind of a new thing?
Well, it was started about a year ago, Jeff, and it was actually designed to maybe combat some homelessness here in the Bridgeton area. We definitely have one of those issues. I can tell you we're getting ready to repurpose that entire structure. We're hoping to tie it into some medical services with our maternity home. We do a maternity home on the Bridgeton campus for young ladies who are pregnant who really have no other place to go. And we do the same type of maternity home in Kansas City. And what we're hoping to possibly do with that drop-in center is kind of repurpose some of that space and maybe offer some free medical services specifically and especially to our own maternity home clients. Because again, most of them come to us. So we have 2 of those locations, the maternity homes. The Lighthouse is the one in Kansas City, and the other is right here on our Bridgeton campus. But one of my favorite ministries, and I hate even saying that out loud, because I got 260 plus employees and somebody's going to get mad at me. So, but one of the ministries I personally connect with very closely is our intellectually and developmentally disabled adult ministry. We have 2 different residential locations. Both of those houses are full. So there's 8 in each one, both male and female. And so that's 16 clients we have. One is in Republic or just outside Republic, and the other one's in Peculiar, Missouri. And the reason I so connect with that ministry, Jeff, is those clients are with us for years. Like our foster care clients, we may have that child 30 days, 2 weeks, 90 days, but then that client ends up in a foster care home. So we're not like in direct care at that point. Now our care goes to the foster care family. And so the family then is caring for the client. Whereas our IDD clients, our intellectually and developmentally disabled adults, we are their care provider. We are their mom and dad. And so our residential staff in those locations work 7 days on, 7 days off. So those 7 days you're on, you are literally like a house parent to them 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And it's just a unique community that those 2 houses are. And I love them. In fact, we just did a retreat for them in Branson. Got to take them to Sight and Sound and take in some of the Branson activities you and I take for granted all the time. And so we had a chance to treat them to that. So that I just love that ministry again, because some of those clients, Jeff, will be with us for years. I mean, literally for years. And so there's a lot of consistency with that. And then there's one other program attached to foster care that I have not yet mentioned, and that is our transitional living sites. As you can imagine, not every client thrives in a foster care setting like all other clients. There's some that just, for whatever reason, just don't thrive as well. So they will age out more quickly, meaning around age 17 to age 21, they can leave the foster care home, but they're still in the care of the state. And a lot of those folks have no place to go. As you can imagine, that's how they ended up in foster care. They didn't have a bio family to take care of them. And so we have what we call scattered sites. They're like apartments, and those apartments belong to us. And those clients can transition into those apartments. And the sole purpose in that is trying to teach them independence. We're either helping them finish their GED, helping them get into college, helping them get a job or get job skills. And we can house them up until age 21. Now, at age 21, we have to release them. That's based on the state. And so we do have transitional living sites in Springfield, also in Bridgeton, and there's always clients that are in those transitional living sites. In fact, right here in the Bridgeton campus, we have a young lady who has a child who is less than a year old, and I get to visit with them just, again, on my own. I don't offer case management. Obviously, that's not my job, but I get to visit with them because they're kind of in my backyard, so to speak. And so I've watched this little boy over the last 8-10 months just grow. And that part's, I just enjoy that. And when we get to have those clients a little more long-term.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense and probably a huge need there also.
Oh, absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Yeah, I see here that there's a new program that started in the spring of 2025.
Yes, sir.
Stronger Family Services.
Yes, sir. Listen, you've mentioned you started our program, on the last show, you started talking about data, 11,500 kids, clients in the foster care system. I believe that the care entities like us are doing a great job in providing care to the clients that are in the system. One of the things that we are trying to emphasize is, hey, what if we address the problem on the front end? Like, what if we kept them somehow from coming into the system? What if we did that so well we worked ourselves out of a foster care job? I think we would be okay with that. We would just do prevention work all the time. So Stronger Family Services is an actual prevention program. And let me just give you, because I know you've got a time constraint, but let me give you briefly how that works. We take referrals.
Hey, we're all preachers. We don't have time restraint.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. That's my kind of talk right there. So. But we take referrals from like local school counselors, guidance counselors, local police departments, fire departments, local churches. This is another way we partner with churches. So let's say whatever the source is, they come to us and say, hey, we know this family. We know this family is in crisis, and we're concerned if somebody doesn't step in and work with this family, they're going to lose their children. And we can even take those same referrals from Children's Division, which we work in conjunction with them as well. And so what happens is our Stronger Family Services case managers can then contact that home, contact the family in question, ask to come and set up a visit, and we can go into that setting. And again, we have a very structured format, as you can imagine, because there's certain parameters that have to be in place for a child to be pulled from a home. Me coming from a law enforcement background, Jeff, I've been on that side of the process where I have personally taken children out of homes before because certain parameters were met. I had no option. These are parameters set by the state. And when I observed those, I had to remove children from a home. What our SFS, or our Stronger Family Services team, seeks to do is to make sure we're checking off all the boxes as they work with those families so that a government agency doesn't have to remove the child. Because sometimes, Jeff, it's not abuse. Sometimes, man, it's just the fact you've got a single mom working 2 jobs, and because of daycare, she can't keep the power turned on. Well, if police show up and there's a child there by themselves and there's no power on, I can tell you right now, child's out. The child's gone. And I'm not saying that's wrong. Please hear me. From a law enforcement standpoint, that's what you have to do. The child has to come out. What we're trying to do is connect those families, whether it's with our own resources or resources that the government provides, is to help that mom, help that dad who is working. They're making every effort to provide, but man, they're just coming up short. Or maybe there's emotional struggle. We have our own counseling staff. Obviously, it's counseling from a Christian and biblical worldview, but these are licensed counselors. We will also utilize our own counselors in helping these parents and these children. And the sole purpose, as I'm saying, is to keep the kids in the home so the kid never becomes a part of the foster care system.
Now, this is only in the St. Louis area?
Well, we actually work it in 2 locations, but it's different. So in the St. Louis area, we self-fund that ministry. So let me tell you what that means. That is not under state contract, even though we will take referrals from the state. we get no dollars from the state. And just in salaries and benefits alone, we're probably $350,000 of self-pay there. That's not counting any services. That's just for staffing.
Yeah.
In the Kansas City side, we were very blessed. Lutherans, children and families, which we work with, another denomination, but we work with them closely. They reached out to us back around November of last year, virtually offering the exact same program in Kansas City, but under contract. They couldn't work the contract, so they asked us to take it for them. And so we are receiving contract dollars in Kansas City to do the exact same work. And so we're actually doing it in Kansas City, in St. Louis, the difference being the St. Louis program has different parameters because we're paying for all of it. So we set our own parameters. And so there's a little more freedom on the St. Louis side. The contract relationship has a few more restrictions to it that we don't deal with here, but the same outcomes. The goal is to keep kids in their bio families if it's safe and if there's no neglect involved.
I've asked him all the questions. You guys got any questions for Juston?
Tell us a little bit more about the housing for special needs or the IDD clients there. How does that come about? I know we have a special needs ministry with several families where, individuals are in there.
In your heart too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, like I said, I love that ministry. I love all of our ministries, but again, because those clients are such long-term with us, you just develop a little different relationship with them. Like I get to see the same faces all the time. Like one of the guys, and I won't call his name, obviously on a public podcast because of privacy, but he's a big Kansas City Chiefs fan. And so every time I see this client, I will always mess with him about that. Like I will say, hey man, hey, you still pulling for the Packers? And oh man, it's on every time we do this, So those referrals come to us primarily from private sources. In fact, we have a pretty lengthy wait list on the house that's in Republic. That house is full. It can only house 8. And it stays full because that is a tight-knit community. Our services are really good. Same thing on the home in Peculiar. It only houses 8. That one's full. And so most of those referrals are actually private. Like you'll have a private family just reach out to you. Now, we do work under the guise and the control of Department of Mental Health. That's all IDD falls under Department of Mental Health, which is a branch of Department of Social Services. So you got Children's Division on one side of that pie, and then Department of Mental Health on the other side of that piece of pie. And so we work with both of those agencies. And so we do have to provide all the safety parameters that DMH requires, but DMH doesn't necessarily refer clients to us. We get those primarily privately. And so like if you knew somebody, Sean or Jeff or Chris, somebody you knew a family, you could always refer them to us. And if we had an open bedroom, we would obviously then go through the interview process and bring that client in. What we're hoping to do in that one particular ministry, we really can't expand residential because, as I mentioned, and guys, again, I don't want to belabor the same point, but hiring residential staff has been very difficult, period. Every ministry, the most difficult for us to hire has been the residential staff. And so what we're looking to do is to expand what we do in IDD, but not in the residential format. There are day hab centers. I don't know if you guys have learned or heard of those, where like IDD clients are transported during the day. It's almost like a job. Obviously it's not, they don't get paid and it's not full employment, but they do learn skills and there's different life skills that are developed. We currently take those to off-sites, like locations that we partner with that aren't ours. What we're hoping to do on a couple of our campuses is start those ourselves, like develop our own day hab ministries, because we think we do IDD very well. And I'm, again, obviously I'm going to say that about our own ministries, but I think we do them very well. Our staff is really good. And so any service we can provide to our IDD clients, that's something we're going to look at expanding and increasing in the future.
Yeah, I think that is a much needed ministry of the MBCH. I just know here in our church, we started a ministry called Pure Life. It was Sean's vision on that, and that is young folks, well, not just young folks. I mean, it's all ages in there.
Yeah, we have some that are in their 50s and up. So it's basically 18 and up in that Pure Life group.
It.
So yeah,
love it.
But you're right. You develop a special relationship,
You do.
and it's amazing. I've got
every single one of them brightens your day every time you see them.
I know it.
It's
I know it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Justin, I do appreciate you, brother.
Man, thank you guys. I do.
Missouri Baptist has got a good guy at the helm.
Well, you're quite gracious. And again, we love the platform. Man, thank you that your church is doing this. I wish more churches did podcasts. I don't have to tell you, man, so many people tune into things on live stream and those things now compared to what they used to. And so I think it's just another gospel platform for you guys. So, hey, kudos on you guys coming up with this and putting it out there.
Well, I got one last question. A rebel or a bulldog?
Oh, rebel. Dude, that's not even a question. Man. Yeah.
Actually, we kind of ended last time, and I think we need to touch on it again with September being MMO month here in the state of Missouri. Do a brief overlay of how important that ministry or that offering is to your organization.
Hey, Chris, let me tell you, if folks are media savvy at all or website savvy, if they'll go to our website, mbch.org, and I know that it's hard to do when I'm telling you as opposed to showing you, but on our website, there's an About Us tab at the top. If you will click on that About Us, underneath that tab is Media Resources. And if you go to our Media Resources, you will see a 2025 MMO promotional video. Let me tell you, it was excellently done by Missouri Baptist Convention staff, and it shows the benefits of MMO. It shows one of our foster care families that has had over 100 children in their home.
Oh, wow.
And they mentioned, not only MBCH, they mentioned the importance of cooperative program giving and those things. MMO in particular is important because that is Missouri-based missions. Like every dollar of that offering will go to some type of mission work, and we're considered that. MBCH is considered mission work in the state of Missouri. So all of those dollars collected go to entities like us or mission work like us. And so nothing is shared. And y'all listen, I'm all about sharing cooperative program dollars. I get that. That's how the SBC works. But I am quite fond of the MMO because all those dollars stay in Missouri.
Yeah, forgive me for saying this, but I've said if there was one offering that I had to promote and not promote any others, it would be the MMO.
Buddy, I love that.
Yeah.
I do. And I would support it. I would support it all day long.
I think that covers quite a bit of it. Dr. Gates, again, we can't tell you enough how much we appreciate you being on here with us.
And
thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for the invite.
Again, folks, that is, if you want any information on them or the details that he talked about, mbch.org. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. And that you can get all the information. You'll see some of it on there. Now, I will encourage you to come back to our YouTube channel or our Facebook channel. Our Facebook, obviously, with the new rules, they're only on there for so long. But Dr. Gates was with us Sunday, and he will be his sermon will be on our YouTube page for now to eternity at this point. So, but we so much appreciated him being here on Sunday to be able to talk to us as well. So that's all I got. Again, thank you all for listening to At the Table. If you have any questions, concerns, want to talk about anything that lays on your heart, FBCKC at FBCKC.com. For Pastor Josh, Pastor Sean, Pastor Jeff, I'm Chris. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week at the table.